Let's go for it!
Hey everybody, welcome to the newest video here in the Dark Stuff. I'm your host. It's me, your buddy Dave. And I'm doing a kind of an acquisitions video. This is just a bunch of shit that I've gotten over the last month or so. So I'm going to show you some used records, some new stuff. And then at the end, like I always do, some kind of current releases that I'm vibing on kind of heavily at the moment. So let's just jump right into it, okay? I'm going to start off with this collection called Super Bubble, okay? This is a 3 LP set. Okay, the condition is questionable. I mean, it's ripped there and stuff, but it's 3 records. This was like something you would order off the television in 1977. It says, for additional copies of Super Bubble, send $8.99 for records or $10.99 for 8-track tapes to this address. And basically, this is all just bubblegum pop, old AM radio songs from like the late 60s into the 70s. And this is the kind of stuff that, like, when I was a kid, I used to hear in the car driving around with my parents. You know, like they would play the radio, and it was like, it was the 70s, and AM was what they had in the car. And I used to hear stuff like this, like, you know, Sugar Sugar by the Archies, or this also has The Association. It has Tommy James and the Shondells. I think We're Alone Now. It's got, this one is great though. It's got Indian Giver from the 1910 Fruit Gum Company.
Indian giver, you took your love away from me.
Nowadays, in 2016, I kind of understand that song to be more than a little bit racist. I mean, just the term Indian Giver is racist. The song is still pretty good. And it also has a song that I know because the Replacements used to play it all the time in their live shows about 85, 86 from the Ohio Express. They did Yummy, Yummy, Yummy.
Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy and I feel like I'm loving you.
Anyways, it's just got a bunch of other, you know, basically cheesy stuff, you know, that songs you would know if you grew up in the 70s and you drove around with your parents in the radio. Or maybe you still listen to AM radio and hear this kind of stuff. The Turtles are on here, the Foundations, Crazy Elephant, Candy. I mean, all these songs. This is just great. And I love the cover of just the kind of the cute 70s chick blowing a bubble. Okay, next up, I got this record from Apollonia 6. I figured I would always pick this one up if I ever got, you know, found it for cheap. This was like $5. It's in pretty decent condition. And it's got, let's see here, it's in a regular sleeve, but they also have the color sleeve that it came. Oh, look at Apollonia. Woo! What a babe. She was amazing. Now, as you probably know, Apollonia 6 was a kind of an invented group by Prince to put in the Purple Rain movie, because the person he was really going to be talking about and who played the real life person in the story was Vanity. She had her group Vanity 6. Vanity 6, of course, by the time Prince was doing this movie, him and her had already broken up, and so she was no longer a protege slash girlfriend. She was just somebody else. And so they replaced her, made Apollonia 6 a whole thing. I mean, obviously you have to be kind of attracted to Apollonia for that group to appeal to you, because it's really not, they're not that great. This was what I considered to be something of a score. I was pretty happy I found this. This is the soundtrack to the movie called Dudes. It's a 1987 movie. I've never seen it, actually, at all. John Cryer is one of the stars in the movie.
city boys. Hey man, we're not looking for any trouble. We are.
So you remember him. I mean, he was on that, what, 2.5 Men or whatever for a long time. Didn't like that shit. But in the 80s, he was like the nerdy kind of guy in all the teen movies. And this is like some type of weird punk rock western. The reason I care about this, okay, it has a couple of different artists. It has Wasp on here. It has Megadeth doing These Boots Are Made for Walking. It has, let's see here, Steve Vai doing Amazing Grace. And then it's got Mountain Song by Jane's Addiction, but it says here copyright 1985 Jane's Addiction, XXX Records. And if you know Jane's Addiction, the song Mountain Song didn't come out until 1988, and it was on the Nothing Shocking album. But this soundtrack came out in 1987, which, unless Perry Farrell knows how to time travel, means this is not a version that was on the Jane's Addiction record that came out. Therefore, this is an unreleased version, and it is different, and it's pretty noticeable when you listen to it. So if you're a Jane's fan, this is a cool little rarity. I don't know if they've released this on anything else, but it is pretty cool. And it also has Rock and Roll Outlaw by Keel. That's important for this next record I'm going to show you. Okay, so the Dude soundtrack. The next one I got just sheerly for the cheese factor, and then it turns out I bought 2 records that both featured Keel. But I got this Keel record, Lay Down the Law.
Boobs.
Because, you know, deep down inside, I'm still like 14. I saw a boob. I decided to get it. This is 1984 Shrapnel Records from Keel. Now, I'm pretty familiar with Keel. I remember them from the 80s, and there was so much hype around them, and I kind of gave a shit at the time, 86, 87 or so, because they were peripherally attached to Kiss, and I was a massive Kiss fan at the time. Gene Simmons produced some of their records, so I gave Keel a chance, and their albums like The Right to Rock and all of this. But honestly, like, Keel never really did it for me. I didn't really get it. I thought their songs were kind of cheesy, and I didn't get why he was considered such a big deal. Ron Keel, Thunder and Lightning, Lay Down the Law. They had pretty bad cover of Let's Spend the Night Together by the Stones. Tonight You're Mine. Anyways, Keel, I guess, went on to do country after this, but this was an early record, and again, cover. I just was getting for the cheese factor. And of course, speaking of cheese, I got Buster Poindexter here. Buster Poindexter is, as you probably know, David Johansen, formerly of the New York Dolls. This was his sort of mid to late 80s persona. And it almost cost, oh God, I'm going to draw a blank on his name, the bass player from the Dolls, tried to kill himself after he saw David Johansen on MTV, so just weird. Side note there, it's not entirely because the record was so bad, it was just because his life was really bottoming out. He was living in some Fleabag motel, and he turns on MTV and he sees his old bandmate David Johansen and just assumes, oh, he's made it. Look at this rich rock star, blah, blah, blah. Because he didn't really know all the details, and he jumped out of the hotel window. Fortunately survived, but anyways, I can understand why someone would want to kill themselves after hearing this record. This is an embarrassment to David Johansen, and it was probably his best known music of his entire career is the song Hot, Hot, Hot from Buster Poindexter. Sad fact. Anyways, you should reacquaint yourself with the New York Dolls or David Johansen's late 70s, kind of into early 80s solo material, which is still pretty good. It's just that Buster Poindexter, I'm sorry. I mean, I have it for my sort of New York Dolls collection, but that's about the extent of it, you know. I was at Half Price Books, and I picked up a new copy of Parquet Courts. This is a couple records old, Light Up Gold, but it was only $12.99. I didn't have it on vinyl, and I love these guys, and so of course I picked it up. Not much more to say about these. Great New York indie band doing the full Pavement with this record cover. I'm sorry, they hate that comparison, but when you make an album that looks just like a Pavement album and you sort of sound like you know. I got 2 CD collection compilations that are multi-disc sets that are really, really great that I'm just going to show sort of briefly. The first one here is called The Greatest Ever Punk and New Wave, the Definitive Collection. Now, with a title like that, it's ripe for being taken down for being wrong, okay? Because this clearly isn't the greatest ever punk and new wave. But it is pretty good. It's 3 discs full of songs. Most of these have like 19, 20 songs on each one. Groups like, you know, The Stranglers, The Undertones, Sham 69, Split Ends, Madness, The Specials, Dead Kennedys, UK Subs, Bad Manners, The English Beat, Joe Jackson. Let's see here. It's got Stiff Little Fingers, great Northern Ireland punk band. I love almost all of these songs, to be honest with you. Eddie and the Hot Rods. Now I have a version of this doing the song Do Anything You Want to Do. I used to see Soul Asylum play that live in like the late 80s, early 90s. They used to play that all the time. Reckless Eric, Whole Wide World. Beautiful song that I honestly first became familiar with from the movie Stranger Than Fiction, when Will Ferrell is kind of courting Maggie Gyllenhaal and he picks up a guitar and starts playing the song.
Said to me, only one girl in the world for you, and she probably listened to E.T. I'd go the whole wide world, just to find out.
A woman said to me, there's only one girl in the world for you, and she probably be innocent. I hate it. I go the whole wide world, just to find her.
And I thought, you know, I didn't know what it was at the time, and then it was like, I realized that it was an old song and it was Reckless Eric, but it was a great moment in that movie, just FYI. Anyways, good collection. This was like, you know, again, $12.99 for 3 CDs, packed full of punk and new wave. Heavily UK and Australia centric. Not a lot of American bands. I mean, the Dead Kennedys and 1 or 2 others, but for the most part, it's all UK stuff, and it's all what you loosely would call new wave. I mean, there's no Clash or Sex Pistols or anything like that, or The Jam, which are kind of the 3 biggest UK punk rock bands. There's no Wire on here. But anyways, that's what you get when you call it the greatest ever set. But still, $12.99, it's worth getting for sure. And then I got this thing called Rockabilly Rules. And this is a 3-disc set that comes in this, like, you know, metal tin box. And it's great. Cheesecake cover, you know, girls and Southern flags and all of that kind of stuff. You get a little, you know, cover there, and then the discs themselves are just in slipcases, okay? But this is great stuff. This is all the early rock and roll from the 50s into the early 60s. Great stuff on here. Almost every song on this is good. It's got Gene Vincent, Roy Orbison, Eddie Cochran, Johnny Cash. See, these glasses sometimes it's hard to read, and I'm going to do this. Oh, much better. Okay, Carl Mann, Charlie Rich, Johnny Burdette, who does the original Train Kept a Rollin'.
She was pretty from New York City, and we trucked on down that old fair lane with a heave and a hoe. Well, I just couldn't let her go.
It's got Ricky Nelson. We got Carl Perkins. We got, let's see here. I already said Gene Vincent. A whole bunch of people I wasn't really super familiar with, but songs that I really love. Jerry Lee Lewis. This is just 75 songs of all classic 50s, 60s stuff. This is pretty much all you would need almost from any of this stuff. Wanda Jackson is awesome on here. You know, she's great. Fujiyama Mama is the song that she does on here.
Baby, I can do to you 'cause I'm a Fujiyama mama, and I'm just about to blow my top. Fujiyama Yama, Fujiyama. And when I start erupting, ain't nobody gonna make me stop.
Okay, now let's move to the new releases, stuff that I've been kind of vibing on a little bit. Maybe a year ago or so in a video, I talked about this group, Public Access TV, that I saw from New York that opened up for Palma Violets. And I thought they were awesome live, but they didn't have any music for sale. And they said, oh, we got a new album coming out in a month or 2 or whatever. I don't know, it's a year later. Apparently they're having an album come out, and they sent me this single for the song End of an Era. And it says their debut album, Never Enough, will be released in this month, in September of 2016. So this was the first single, End of an Era.
They say the kids don't like rock and roll, don't like rock and roll anymore. I would've waited forever, would've waited forever, well that's for sure.
Now when I saw these guys live, it kind of reminded me of the Modern Lovers a little bit, Jonathan Richman, kind of that manic energy, and I told them, this dude, that I thought they sounded like the Modern Lovers but with better guitar playing. Now this song sounds nothing like that. At first I really hated this song, but I'm kind of starting to grow on me, so I keep an eye out for these guys when this record comes out. I'm certain I'll be revisiting this when I get the full length. New one from Jeff the Brotherhood, Nashville band, who puts out a record, it seems like every 6 months. This is the newest one called Zone. A great band from Atlanta, Georgia called Gringo Star has a new album out now called The Sides and In Between. I've been digging these guys for a long time. Southern rock and roll, but they're like a Southern Replacements almost. Like they have that kind of don't give a shit attitude, but they write great songs, but they do have a Southern vibe. They were just in town like 2 days ago, and I didn't even hear about it until after the fact. That's unfortunate, but good stuff on this new record. All right, apparently this woman, Esme Patterson, has been around for a while. I'd never heard of her until I got this CD sent to me. This is her newest album called We Were Wild. It's on the Grand Jury label, which is the same label that puts out Twin Peaks. I talk about Twin Peaks a lot. She is fucking awesome. I mean, not only is she super pretty, I mean, I do like that look. But anyways, side note. Her stuff is really great. I'm really starting to dig the record. And I've been playing the song Feel Right on my radio show. Apparently the single was No River. Didn't know that. Anyway, Esme Patterson, she's from Portland, Oregon. The new album is We Were Wild. Vibing on that one. Here's one. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Anyways, these guys are from Australia. It's super crazy, weird psych rock. The entire album is woven together as one gigantic song. There's no break between from one to the next. I mean, they separate on the CD, but it's like one long 50-minute just crazy psychedelic jam. It's fucking good. I almost dismissed these guys when I got the CD for the show, for my radio show, because it's like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. That sounds so fucking dumb, but like, wow, I'm glad I gave it a chance because this is cool, super cool. And then I had someone over at my house doing some work on the house, and they saw the CD sitting there, and the guy goes, "Oh man, King Gizzard, I love those dudes." I didn't know anyone had ever even heard of them. Anyways, okay, I'm down to the end here. This is one from a group called Teen Suicide. Okay, there's a big sticker over it because it's a promo, but the album is called It's the Big Joyous Celebration, Let's Stir the Honey Pot. Now, first of all, terrible name. Calling your band Teen Suicide is just a guarantee that you're just going to have a lot of people just not like you no matter what. They don't like dealing with that kind of subject, and that's not even, as far as I can tell, what he's talking about. It's sort of like progressive indie rock. I don't know. I mean, it's really, really hard to say what these guys are like, but I dug it right away. I played the song Living Proof, which is the opening cut on the record. All right, everybody, that pretty much wraps up this edition of The Dark Stuff. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.